It's not the most financially stable. It's
Yeah.
not the most like, in a lot of cultures, it's looked down upon, my own being one of them. Not looked down upon in that music is a bad thing, but really, you want to like, are you serious right now? Like, grow up, do something real with your life, right? Um, I guess I was convinced enough to fight my parents every day on it. They really didn't want me to do music professionally. But they were supportive of me at the end of the day, no matter what I wanted to do. So they tried to convince me otherwise a lot, and with reason, not just because they felt like they wanted me to do medical or like engineering or something else, but just in that, like, okay, you can do music and something else at least. But I was like really set on going to a conservatory, only studying music. Now looking back, I think that there would have been a lot of benefit to having gone down a little bit more of a dual degree path, or, but at the end of the day, like, I think that my experiences are what shaped me into the person I am today. So I really wouldn't regret a thing that I've done. My name is Nikki. I'm a violinist from Dallas, Texas. My family is Iranian. They immigrated to the US in the 70s and 80s for the most part, my parents, and put me in music when I was a small child, just as an extracurricular, along with sports and other things. And music kind of was the one that stuck with me. It wasn't my plan to become a professional musician, but just with time playing the violin, I realized that that's kind of what I'm really passionate about. So I did my undergrad at the New England Conservatory in Boston, graduated in 2023, and now I work at NEC in the preparatory school and do a couple other things on the side.
I know it's almost college audition season. If you can remember back, what was your experience?
Well, the recording process is difficult. Kind of, I guess what really helps me the most was to sit down and look at all the schools and talk to as many people as I could who have gone to those schools or who have experience there with other people, research the faculty a little bit and figure out like a list of where I want to apply, because it can be really overwhelming. There's so many options, right? For music, there's less so than like the rest of the, careers out there. Obviously, there's just so much to choose from. So to really kind of narrow down and make a list, these are the places I want to audition, some being, safety schools, some being like, yeah, I'm pretty sure, this will be like my level school, and some being reach schools as well. Just, figuring out what repertoire is required of each audition for the first round and the second round, and trying to consolidate that also that, okay, you can choose a piece that fits in both categories if needed, rather than like doing so much repertoire, in a not super efficient way. Auditions, push your best foot forward, don't kill yourself over it. It's, the whole thing. I mean, the way that you play comes through just playing a few notes, not whether or not you play this B flat enough, for example. I think the biggest thing that really helped me was asking questions of faculty, staff, students, people my age, my own teachers, everything. Yeah, just gather as much information as you can.
Onto your life at NEC, how would you kind of describe it in terms of the workload and the community?
Yeah, oh, what a good question. Well, NEC is a very high level school, right? And a lot of people are there because they know exactly what they want to do and exactly the kind of career they want to have in the beginning. They go in there and they work really, really, really hard, and they practice a lot, and they don't do much else besides practice. I was a little bit like separate from this. I wasn't practicing as much as everyone else. I'd go out, I'd have my fun. I would hang out with friends. I'd also meet a lot of new people, new areas, new connections, freelancers, contractors. So I ended up playing for a lot more professional events, like in the public, in the community, right? So like not necessarily just like classical music engagements, but and I think that really, really helped me to feel confident upon graduating and knowing where my next step can be, like how my bills are going to be paid after graduating. Whereas a lot of people who were there, decided to do their masters just because that's what everyone does. And then masters decide to do their graduate diploma just because they're not ready to go out onto the real world yet. And, and then GD goes to, doctorate without even like realizing that they don't like to write. And all a doctorate degree is a DMA is just writing, and research. I kind of got on a tangent there, which I can talk about for hours probably, but the community at NEC is very nice. Faculty and staff are really nice. I'm staff there myself. Again, not in the college, but it's a very kind community. I wouldn't say, there's like stigmas at a few schools that, it's very competitive and people aren't friends or whatever. It's not really like that at NEC. Everyone's kind of just doing their own thing. You make your friends and yeah, generally supportive, I would say. At least I felt this way in my class. And my class was like supposedly the largest in history, I think, like the largest graduating class in history. But it's small still. It was like 120 people across classical, jazz, and contemporary music. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed my time there though. But I'd always see my friends who are like at other like normal universities and colleges and I'd be like, wow, like you have a gym in your school? What? We don't have that. What? Greek life? What does that even mean? Like not that that's, the most important stuff, but just observations. And I guess one thing that is lacking from going to a conservatory is only being around a certain type of people and not getting to branch out and meet people who are studying other things, studying science and studying marketing and studying like I don't know, whatever else. There's just so much, right? And so much opportunity to learn about other fields and how you can become a more well-rounded, more holistic musician yourself based on that as well. Okay, here's another thing which I notice at NEC. People don't really celebrate their wins. So I guess I'm a big celebratory person. I'm just gonna put it out there. I love to celebrate and have a good time, and I think that's important. And I love to be around people. I'm a big people person, and whenever we'd finish orchestra concerts at NEC, we'd all kind of just leave and that's it, right? And there was no like, yay, good concert. Let's have dinner. Let's like just all hang out somewhere. Until I started playing in the chamber orchestra my senior year, which is a small, like 16 person ensemble. And, obviously with that size, and it's the same group of people the whole year. So we get close. A lot of the rehearsals are self-student run. So we really have to collaborate and like have these balances of friendship and communication and teamwork and collegiality. I don't know if colleagueness, like you're working, teamwork essentially, right? And then after we'd finish a concert though, we'd always hang out. And I think that was like just being in that ensemble was like one of the most special parts of my experience at the school because it really gave us an opportunity to experience like, oh, okay, if we were playing in a real chamber orchestra in the professional world, this is what it's like. Like we're running it ourselves kind of thing. We had a fantastic coach, Don Palma, but like a lot of times he'd sit back and just like see how we would do if we were just commenting on each other's playing and working together. So I really, really enjoyed my time there and would say that that was like one of the best group of friends that I had while at school. What's so beautiful about music too, we're not playing it, at least to me, yes, manuscripts are beautiful and what Beethoven originally wanted in his music, yeah, great. I took a Beethoven manuscripts class, like we really got into the details of it. But at the end of the day, music just brings people together. It brought people together in the past, and it's bringing together people together in the future right now, and it will in the future as well. So that's yeah, taking advantage of that in whatever way you can is so precious.
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment where you faced self-doubt? Did you have
Yes, music education wouldn't be properly fulfilled without self-doubt. Are you kidding? Or any arts for that matter. Oh my goodness, yes, of course, right? So during college, I remember calling my best friend, and she was a biochem major, and I'd be like, Jessica, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Why did I do this? Like, I can't get a job. I originally came to NEC with the intention of playing in a major symphony orchestra. Um, and I still love orchestra. I love it with all my heart. I think it's like the most amazing music to play. But, when COVID hit, for example, and like the Met Opera musicians weren't being paid, and I'm sitting here thinking like, wow, okay, that's like an orchestra that I would like die to be in, and probably if I ever did get in would be like in my mid 30s, like maybe after I have a family, what, and like move all my family to there after like being somewhere else for some other like random job, I don't know, middle of like Kentucky, like symphony orchestra that I won and then move somewhere, right? So like I think it could have eventually happened if I stuck with it long enough, but I wasn't willing to like make all of my life decisions based on that. Also because of you're not being guaranteed to be supported through hard times, as COVID was an example. So that really opened my eyes up to like the world of performance and like the professional opportunities that exist for musicians. And from then on, I kind of started being interested more in entrepreneurial musicianship. So, more like teaching minimally, like that's like the beginning of it, but really like how do you create more work for current musicians? And so, like, yeah, I began teaching on an app, and that really promoted like accessibility to music education, which I'm really passionate in, but also like from then on, I started like posting more on social media and like sharing my own journey and like, the highs and the lows of that just through practicing. And then currently, I have a musician entertainment agency called Glass Artists, which essentially is a contracting business. I hire musicians, try to hire mostly current students or recent grads to play weddings, corporate events around New England, New York, LA. I'm trying to expand out there, but right now mostly New England. And to me, like, as much as yes, you're not going to school for 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 years to learn how to play the Bridgerton soundtrack, but if that's what brings people closer to music and that's what, pays your next bill, I'm sorry, like it makes sense. And there's a way to, there are ways to do stuff like that and then have time to do the stuff that you're really passionate about as well, whether that's like playing in a or singing in a choir or like, playing learning certain music history and whatever, whatever, however niche you want to get into it. I think that it's our duty as musicians to not only play for ourselves, but play for the public.
Since you run a business that it seems like you have a lot on your plate, do you have a good work-life balance with that, or what helps you maintain it?
So I'm a little, I don't know. I mean, my friends have prescribed me as a bit of a workaholic. Um, I think I don't know. Well, I definitely I'm always thinking about work-life balance. I'm like, well, am I doing this? And I definitely get to, I get to travel, I get to see my family, I get to see my friends and, do things that make me happy. I love to exercise a lot as well. So for the past few months, I'll just give you my little timeline. I graduated NEC in May 2023. I started working there October. I was working full time. Then I also started running the business around then in September. Summer was like our busiest season. Like we had like 40 different events over the summer. It was just a lot and because I'm the only one who runs the company, right? So I'm doing all the hiring, all the legal stuff, all the contracts and all the like contracting and music section, talking to clients and whatever, sales, right? So that became really busy. And then I started an MBA, a master's in business, a couple months ago as well. And I still teach part-time as well. So these four things together started to make me not feel so good physically. Like I would find myself like getting stressed a lot quicker, being a little bit more quick to anger, and not in that, it's a lot of things that contribute to that, right? Like I was really not cooking at all for myself. I was ordering everything out, which is like processed. That's not good for you. I wasn't like getting enough sleep. I wasn't like working out as much as I had like was used to. And so not being able to take care of myself and also see my friends and then just also have time to sit and think and just not do anything for like at least a little bit every day was starting to show in my life. So I just quit my job. And I am now having a little bit more work-life balance as of last week. I no longer work full-time at NEC. Actually, I'm still in a part-time capacity until we're able to do like a smooth transition basically to someone else who will fill my role. But everyone was really, really happy for me and kind of understood. And they were like, look, like as much as we'll miss having you here, like we're so happy for you that you're chasing your dreams, whatever. So mostly for the reason of like I wanted to spend more time on my business and see where I could grow that. But also like I want to practice again. I want to like start, like I I want to do a little bit more, yeah, have more balance in a way. So I think that that's important and that you should take whatever measures you can to make sure that you always are in ba not always. Okay, well, we swing, or at least I swing like a pendulum. I'm either extreme on one end or sometimes extreme on the other end. Right now I'm in the middle though, which is good. But whatever you can do to just make sure that you're living a happy, healthy, fulfilled, and balanced life is so important because that's why we're here. We're not here to work 24/7. We're here to live our lives and be contributing positive members of society, right? If we're not taking care of ourselves, there is no way we can take care of anyone else around us either.
Yeah. How did you handle criticisms or setbacks and kind of keeping that positive mindset?
Yeah, and it's so common in this field, being that it's so subjective. That's all it is. We never really get a yes, good job, you're done, you did it well. Like it never finishes, right? I mean, you take it. You just take it and you see if it makes sense to you. I'm thinking in a musical sense.
Mhm.
And if it makes sense to you and you talk about it with others and because usually that isn't like a personal attack, right? It's not even an attack, I would say. It's just an observation more than anything. Because like that's just so at the core of what we do. We practice so that we can ask for criticism, right? Right now in my business and the way like that I run things, yeah, I think that can be a little bit more personal because that's like the way you're deciding to do something. Well, I guess with music too, because it's like you're putting all of your soul and everything into a certain interpretation or certain performance, and then someone's like, that was the worst thing I ever heard, then yeah, that's gonna suck. But you just gotta kind of not let it get to you personally and in your heart and in your soul because everyone's going to have an opinion on everything in life. Everyone's going to have an opinion on what you made for lunch and the way you're walking and the way you're dressing and we all have opinions of other people too. We don't have to sugarcoat that. But we don't like see a person and have a judgment on them and suddenly that's the only way we think of them and we think they're a horrible person just because of one little judgment or reaction we have on someone. And the same goes for I think when someone is judging or reacting to you in the way that you're running your life and your business, you're playing. So it's important that we receive that so that we evolve as human beings into the best versions of ourselves. Yeah, and make sure to not surround yourself by only people who will criticize you, but people who will lift you up as well. Because again, balance, right?
So was kind of getting involved in entrepreneurship, was that like, did that start as a hobby or did you start it with the intent of making it into a career?
I was like, I kind of want to do this. And I found that I was like, I think I was, yeah, like decent at it. And definitely, like, my teacher was a little bit like, what's going on here? Like, you're a musician. Why are you spending more time sending emails than you're practicing this week? But she was really supportive of me at the end. And it's so funny, we were just texting this morning too, just about that kind of stuff. So I've been really lucky in that, like my essentially my biggest mentor throughout all of college was supportive of me in that way and still pushed me to work on things that I'd want to maybe bring in an orchestral excerpt for a lesson, and she'd say like, okay, we can do this, but I also want to hear your Bach, or like I also want to hear this concerto or that. And I'd be like, okay, fair enough. Like, yeah, so I really like that she kept pushing me out of my comfort zone and challenging me. And I also had a few other mentors throughout my time at NEC, one of whom kind of had a similar path that I do right now, and that she did her undergrad there, and then she did like freelancing after she graduated, and she subbed for like LA Phil, like she was a pretty prominent freelancer, and then she went into real estate. So like total flip of the switch, and I really enjoyed hearing like her relationship with music right now, what it is, and because she's like a fantastic musician. So I've really enjoyed like being in touch with people who have these kinds of like unprecedented paths in their career. Yeah.
If you can give one advice, what would it be?
Whatever decision that you make is not going to be the wrong decision. It's not going to be the end all be all. It's just the path that you go on. And it's like you're driving a car. Like if you take an exit that takes you longer to get to your destination, it's like also you don't have to go just towards the destination. Maybe you're just on a road trip and you don't know where you're going, but you're just trying to find some pretty views along the way. And that's what life is like. It's just a journey. We don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow or in 5 years or in 50 years, but we just make the best decisions we can with the knowledge that we have, and that's it. Don't really worry about it too much. So it'll be okay as long as you're a good person and you keep your values at heart.